Again, I wanted to show a little bit of a glitch, I guess, before we kind of go in a little bit further. So, where Liliana is right now with her, acceptance of us, we can't have that. So essentially what we're going to need to do, we're going to need to drop it a little bit by giving her, we're going to use some of the feast day pranks. Because this is a bug within the game. Basically what happens is if you are to, how shall I put it? If you pass up a certain line of dialogue before you actually, talk to her about it, and she likes you too much, she will actually end up, you'll not be able to initiate her companion quest. It's a pretty annoying bug. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna drop it back off of her.
Oh, how dear of you. Thank you so much. Oh.
Drop it back to about there, and we're going to talk to her. Talk to her. And then
What's
right
on your
here.
mind?
This is the line of dialogue. I heard that in Orlais, minstrels are often spies.
Where did you hear this?
Someone told me this a long time ago.
And you believe everything you hear? Not all minstrels are spies. Most are just singers and storytellers. But some of them are what we call bards.
And the bards are spies?
Bards are minstrels and more. Spies, as you say. Some say there is a bard order, but I don't think this is true. Many bards work alone or in small groups, doing the bidding of a patron who pays for their services. If there is an organization behind it all, no one knows who they are.
Okay, and then... What's patron? What sort of patron?
Nobles, mostly. In Orlais, there is much rivalry amongst the highborn. They fight over land, influence, and the favor of the empress. But they cannot do this openly because it is impolite, and in public, they wear smiling faces and pretend to be civil. In secret, they plot and scheme to destroy each other. It is a game completely meaningless to anyone but its players.
Well, we're gonna learn a lot about that later. You seem to know quite... I knew it, you're not some innocent sister.
I have revealed too much, it seems. But it doesn't matter what I used to be. It is the past.
But why were you living as a cloistered sister in rural Ferelden? I'm sure that weird.
Found myself in Ferelden, and sheltered from bad weather in the Chantry. And when the storm passed, I just did not want to leave. I like to say the Maker brought me here.
Okay, so after doing that, what's going to happen is, on the road, we will be ambushed, and that's going to start the quest. So in the meantime, we're going to bring her back up to where she was, and I think that's pretty... It sucks that that glitch is still existent. Alright, cool. So she's back up to normal. Now, we're going to run through, and we're going to just have conversations with people that we really never talked to. We haven't talked to Wynn since her... And let me check the recording real quick, just to make sure it's... Okay, good, it is. We're going to talk to Wynn here real quick.
Thank you so much.
This is about Anarian, I assume?
Yes. You led me to Anarin. You persisted, even though I was sure all you were going to find was a dead end.
It always feels good to get resolution.
I will never be able to repay you for what you've done for me. Finding Anarin allowed me to bring that chapter of my life to a close. I feel free. A great weight has been lifted off my heart. This moment, it feels like the moment before the sunrise, when all the world is still, holding its breath, waiting for first light. I can stop thinking about my past and look forward to the future. Thank you, my friend. You will always have my gratitude.
Aw, that's nice. Talk to her again.
What's on your mind?
I was thinking about being a Grey Warden.
Is something troubling you?
Let's see. I don't know, it's just difficult sometimes.
You are one of the 2 surviving Grey Wardens in Ferelden. You defend all of us, and much rests on your shoulders. It may not mean much to you, but thank you for having the courage to continue to fight.
I will be ready when the time comes.
And that gives me hope.
And then let's talk to her again.
Have you heard much about the Grey Wardens of old?
I know they were more respected in the old days.
It was said that watching the wardens ride in on their white griffins was enough to rouse a weary heart and put the dance back in the step of an old man. The Grey Wardens were powerful, feared and respected, but they also inspired the common people. I remember a tale that was told to me many years ago.
Go on.
The blight had ravaged the land for months, and the armies of the great kings had amassed for one last stand. As the sun burst through the clouds that boiled and churned in the dark sky above, it illuminated a vast, seething horde of darkspawn, with the archdemon at its head. And it was then, when courage seemed to fail, and all lost to death and despair, that the Grey Wardens came. They arrived with the beating of wings like mighty war drums, and stood before the armies of men.
Griffins.
Yes, griffins. Now listen to the rest of the story. The Grey Wardens, grim and fearless, marched forth, ever between the men and the encroaching darkspawn. They formed a shield of their own bodies and held that line until the archdemon was dead, and the last darkspawn lay trampled in the dirt. And then, demanding neither reward nor recognition for their sacrifice, the Grey Wardens departed. When the clouds finally rolled back, and the sun shone full upon the blighted ground, the great kings knew that they had lost no men, and none of their blood had been spilled.
I like happy endings.
This is a tale about no battle the Grey Wardens have fought, and yet about them all. They have always defended us from the Darkspawn, taking losses so we do not have to. People may have forgotten over the centuries, but nothing has changed. This knowledge has been blessing and burden to Grey Wardens past, and now it shall be your blessing and your burden.
That's cool. Alright, we'll talk
What's
to
on
her
your
some
mind?
more. As a Grey Warden, I'll never lead a normal life, will I?
No, you won't.
But I don't think I was ever meant to be normal.
I don't think so either. You would not have been happy living a dull, uneventful life, dying in obscurity. You wonder sometimes, don't you? If your life would be better if you weren't who you are.
A little.
When I was a young woman in the tower, I came to the realization that the circle would be my life, and I would know no other. Family, love, a simple life. These were things that others took for granted, that I would never have.
And this upset you?
It made me very moody. All I could think of was being trapped in that tower with no way out and no end in sight. I started hating my life and myself, and one night I found myself in the tower's chapel. I was seeking refuge, maybe answers.
Did you find anything?
I must have looked tearful or made some noise, because the revered mother came out and decided to speak to me. And because I had no one else to talk to, I talked to her. I must have said many silly things, but she told me that the Maker puts us all on our paths for a reason, and fighting our intended course is what causes so much anguish.
I think she's right.
I thought the old biddy was full of rubbish. I was 15, maybe 16, and I knew everything. So I left, but I always found my way back to that chapel. And as the years passed, I began to see the truth of her words. We were supposed to be polar opposites, mage and priest. But we weren't. There was much about us that was the same.
Let's see. I suppose priests have to give up a lot, too.
The revered mother had lived in the chantry all her life, as I had been in the tower for all of mine. She taught me that you can find your family in the people around you, that you can love your work and find fulfillment in duty, and there is joy even in self-sacrifice. If you put others before yourself, then their well-being is yours, and their happiness is your happiness.
Would you hate me if I said you were full of rubbish? It won't be easy to live that way.
You can scream and cry and be angry about life as a Grey Warden, or you can accept it and allow yourself to see the good in it. This is your choice. What's on your mind?
I'd like to ask you something about the circle.
I will answer to the best of my ability.
How did you become a mage?
People don't become mages. They are born mages. The talent just surfaces later. But you are asking how I ended up at the Circle. I was brought there by the Templars, just like many of the other apprentices. I don't remember very much. I was very young then.
What about your family?
I didn't have a family. I never knew my real parents. My earliest memory was of hiding in a hayloft on a farm, trying to keep warm. I was found, and the farmer's wife was kind enough not to send me away. But they had children of their own, and I was never made to feel welcome. The eldest son was the worst. He was always calling me a stray, and throwing anything he could get his hands on at me. And I don't know how it happened, but one day, he just found his hair on fire. Fortunately, there was a large trough nearby. I had singed his hair and eyebrows, but injured little other than his pride. Who knows what they would have done to me had he been more seriously hurt. Thankfully, all I had to endure was a few nights locked in a cold barn with a bowl of water and a crust of bread. The Templars arrived several mornings later.
What a terrible experience for a child.
The barn kept me safe from the village children and the stones they would hurl at me. I was afraid, yes, but it could have been much worse. I'll never forget the moment the Templars led me into the entrance hall of the tower. I had never seen anything so grand in my life. I stopped being afraid then. I knew I was home.
That's a great story.
Well, that's about all there is to my tale. That's how I came to the Circle.
What was life like in the tower?
I would be lying if I said it was easy. First, there were rules, and we were constantly watched to make sure we behaved appropriately. Then there was the study of magic. We had to cast the spells just so, control the effects completely. A single word spoken incorrectly, a gesture out of sync, and lack of focus bothers you, then you are too much of a child to be in any sort of
So I didn't touch anything. Her audio just like cut right there, and I don't know what the hell happened. At least you learned the dangers of magic from the Circle.
Without the Circle and my mentors, I would not have been where I am today. And there was joy in life at the Circle. The joys of fellowship, in knowing that you were not alone in your struggles. In spite of everything, I was happy in the tower, and I loved it.
Nothing else I want to discuss right now. Let me see, is there
What's
anything
on your
else?
I
Tell me
will
about the
answer to
Circle.
the best of
Why didn't
my
you stay at
ability.
the tower?
The Circle is in good hands. Irving knows what to do, and he doesn't need me underfoot. For now, I will support those that battle the Darkspawn. I do feel I left things unfinished in Ostagar. There is so much left to do, and I would be part of it.
I'm glad for your company.
The Grey Wardens, all 2 of you, need all the help you can get. I will see this through to the bitter end, and after that, if I am still left standing, then I will return to the Circle.
I'm sure you will be able to return if you so choose.
Perhaps.
Alright, I think that's it
What's
for
on your
her.
mind? I will answer to the
Alright,
best.
yep, that's all of her dialogue. So now we're gonna talk to Shale.
It has occurred to me that I have been... Excuse me. This is not easy. It occurs to me that I have been less than charitable with it since it reanimated me.
You have good reasons, I think.
I have come to realize that it has been good to me. You have been good to me even though you had no control rod to enforce obedience. I have never had one before, so I don't know how to thank you for being, you know.
A friend?
Exactly so. I followed you expecting to find answers to my questions, but I think I have found something better.
I'm honored, Shale.
Oh, let us not speak of this awkward bonding moment ever again.
I
To the road.
do like Shale. Let me talk to her again.
I am listening.
I have some
It
questions.
doesn't have better things
So
to
you're
do.
female. I had no idea.
I did not think it needed to be said. It has never told me what gender it is, has it?
I'm a male.
Good for it. I am sure that to other creatures as soft and weak as itself, that would be perfectly obvious. The truth is that whatever gender I was is irrelevant now. I am a golem. I have no gender. It will not become an issue.
You're just cuter than before. Weird.
Right. I catch it staring at my behind, and I will feel very awkward. Now, let us crush something soft and watch it fountain blood.
Alright, that's funny. Okay, I don't think there's anything else.
I am listening.
I have some questions.
doesn't-
Alright, yeah. So we've done all of Shale's, all of, Wynn's, all of Zevran's.
What say you?
I think. Answer
By all
some
means.
questions. Let's move on. And then if you talk to him and you ask him
What
this,
say you?
he'll teach us to be an assassin. So right there.
What say you?
Let's see. Discuss something
Again?
personal. Never mind. Okay. So nothing with Zevran. Zevran doesn't have a companion quest. So we've done Wynn, Zevran, Shale. Let's talk to Alistair.
Look, before we go any further, I want to say something. I appreciate that you brought me to see my sister, and that you were there to talk me down after we left. You're a true friend. I just wanted to tell you that.
We're in this together, Alistair.
That we are. I have your back. You know that, right? Well, now that that's out of the way, ask away.
I have some questions.
Of course.
Can you teach others to be a Templar?
Sure, I could. I could even teach you, I suppose. Anyone who's been trained as a warrior. I guess if I'm going to give up Chantry secrets, I may as well go all the way. Send whoever you want trained.
Cool. And then that's how you get the Templar.
Ask away.
You can also buy a book. I have some questions. How did you become a Grey Warden?
Same way you did. You drink some blood, you choke on it, and pass out. You haven't forgotten already, have you?
I believe we've seen all of this, so I'm going to skip through the majority of it. Haha, very funny.
Let's see.
Alright,
I was
yeah,
in
we're
Chantry
gonna-
before.
Yeah, I have shown all this,
Cleric
so we're
didn't
going to
want
skip
let
through
me
it.
go. Duncan was forced to conscript me, actually. I'll always be thankful to
Alright.
Duncan for recruiting me.
He was a
Okay.
good man. Alright.
Ask
And
away.
we're going to, have some
course.
questions. What was it like to be a Grey Warden? These we haven't seen.
I didn't know them for very long. But I guess it was longer than you. You never met them all, did you? They were quite a group. Actually, they felt like an extended family, since we were all cut off from our former lives. We also laughed more than you'd think. There was this one time... Well, you probably don't want to hear stories about men you didn't know.
No, I'd like to hear about them. Were there any elves amongst them?
Just one. A man named Terramel. He kept to himself, mostly. I got the impression that his life before the Grey Wardens was unpleasant. There was one Grey Warden who came all the way from the Anderfells. What was his name? It was Gregor. He was a burly man with the biggest, fuzziest beard you've ever seen. And the man could drink. He drank all the time, but he never got drunk. Finally, we all made a pool to see just how many pints it would take to put him under the table.
Sorry about that again, the headset disconnected. It sounds like you had a lot of fun.
Sometimes. We were kin of a sort. All of us had gone through the joining, so we knew... Well, anyhow. It doesn't have to be deadly serious all the time. Anyhow, we never did find out. He said he'd drink a pint for every half pint that the rest of us drank. He was still going by the time the rest of us were passed out. I'm told that Duncan walked in later on and saw us all passed out from one end of the hall to the other, and Gregor still drinking. Duncan laughed until he nearly... until...
Oh, I'm sorry. This must be hard for you.
Yes, I suppose so. I thought I was done with this, but it just struck me that I have nothing to remember Duncan by. Nothing at all. There's no body, not even a token of his that I could take with me. That must sound really stupid to you.
Not at all.
I just would have liked something of his to take with me, that's all. Well, there's no use in moaning about it, is there? He's gone. Let's just go.
Alright, and then we got some more.
I'm wondering something. I'd like to know your thoughts about some of our traveling companions.
Go ahead. I don't
How
mind.
about Ogren? You must have an opinion on the smell, at the very least.
I actually rather like him. I thought you two would get along.
As long as he stays downwind, sure. Once he's had a bit to drink, however, forget that. There is no bit to drink with him. Where? You didn't think that big pack he brings with him is full of equipment, did you? The man is a walking brewery. Not that it's all bad. Dwarven ale has its charms, I suppose. I just don't think you need to drink to the point of blindness every time.
I actually rather like
I
him.
would too if he could stick to the ribald stories and not so much with the belching and projectile vomiting. How he lifts his sword is a bit of a mystery. Though I suppose the point is that he does lift it. And so long as we can point him in the right direction, he charges too. He has gusto, I'll give him that. Zevran, the elf. You can't trust him, can you? Do you believe his so-called vow?
Yes, I actually do.
Really? Why? That's a lot of trust to put in someone who tried to kill you.
I don't think he'll try again.
That's very trusting of you. I guess you must have your reasons. What about Sten? The way he looks at me with those eyes. Creepy. And he's so quiet for someone so big.
I respect him.
The more I talk to him, the more reasonable he does seem. His philosophy is so strange. But it doesn't sound at all as vile as the Chantry describes it. And yet, he killed all those people. He doesn't even deny it. Doesn't that bother you?
He seems to regret what he did.
I'm not so sure that his regret means the same as it would for us. The Kunari sense of honor is a bit hard to grasp. For me, anyway. What about Liliana? Is she crazy? Or do you really believe in her vision?
You don't believe... I believe that she believes in her vision.
That's one way to put it. I noticed that you and her have become close. Am I right? The rest of us have talked about it.
Yes, we have a connection.
I thought so. Well, I hope you know what you're doing. I don't know what to make of her. If you look at her when she doesn't see you, she just looks so sad. I almost feel guilty taking her away from her life.
I don't. This is good for her.
Good for you, maybe. Her? I'm not so sure about. Morrigan. Do you trust her? Think about it. Maybe Flemeth sent her with us for some other reason than she said.
What reason could... you don't really like each other, do you?
Well, aside from the fact that she's a complete and utter bitch, no, I don't like her at all.
Jesus.
Why, do you?
I think she's beautiful, don't you?
Sure. Beautiful, just like something that's also dangerous, like a beautiful, dangerous thing.
Admit it, you want her.
Oh, I give up. Do what you want. Enough. I think my curiosity is sated. Let's get back to it, shall
Can't
we?
even ask about the dog or win. What a jerk. Alright, let's talk
Ask
to him.
away.
Have some
course.
questions. Why did you keep your birthright a secret?
You never asked?
Did you not trust me? I thought we were friends.
We are friends. I didn't mean to... It wasn't